I'm Coach Snow, and welcome to the Snatch Bottom Overhead Squat 30-Day Mobility Program. I designed this program to help lots of different athletes of different capabilities improve their overhead squat mobility in terms of ankle mobility, hips, internal rotation, thoracic, and just to learn how to address these different areas that you probably haven't done in your regular mobility routines. Let's go over a few of the program guidelines as well as talk about what this program is going to entail across the next 30 days. First of all, even though it says a 30-day program, you do not have to cram everything into the next 30 days. In fact, you are more than welcome to take this at your own pace. You can skip a couple of days and come back and make them up. You can add a couple of rest days in between. You don't have to complete this all 30 days in a row, but rather think of it as 30 days of material that you can insert whenever you need a little bit of mobility in your routine. Each day will come with 2 different videos. There will be a main video between 10 to 15 minutes long that goes over the main drills of the day. Now, the drills in the video are fixed. However, if you are at different levels of capabilities, such as if you are more a beginner or if you are a little bit more advanced in your mobility, I've provided different options in the attached PDF charts that you can use to modify the movements as you need so that you are able to get plenty out of the program without being challenged too much where you can't do something, or if something feels too easy, you know how to scale it up. The first video does not require any equipment whatsoever other than having a chair or a table nearby to be able to hang from or step onto. So you don't need any barbells or PVCs, weights, or anything else. Everything can be done just with some floor space and a few things to hold onto. The second video is some supplemental drills that you can use if you have equipment available. If you have resistance bands, lacrosse balls, an empty barbell, a PVC pipe, or foam rollers, these are all different pieces of equipment that I'll provide different supplemental drills that you can do in order to get a few extra minutes out of your mobility and to perhaps dive further into different types of drills and stretches that we do. Let's talk about the guidelines of this program. Number 1 is trying to complete all the exercises barefoot or in socks if you're able to. It's surprising how wearing elevated shoes can allow us to compensate for a lot of movements and a lot of our mobility, even though we don't realize it, especially ankle mobility. The purpose of an elevated shoe is usually to help our positioning because it decreases the amount of dorsiflexion that our ankle needs to go to in order to stay upright. So by removing the shoe aspect or removing any kind of elevated heel of any sort, you're really diving into getting the mobility through your true foundation of your feet. And you're going to be able to see so many more results when you do have the additional benefit of a lifting shoe once you go into that. The second important guideline is to never approach pain. None of these movements should push you into the point where you're feeling a sharp or jolting pain. That's a sign that we need to stop and we need to regress because there are some other medical issues that we need to address elsewhere before we go on. If you do reach that point, please do not hesitate to add a comment in the discussion about what you're feeling so I can help address it and give you modifying movements. Now, there are some movements that will be challenging. They will cause some type of cramping, perhaps, or just feel like they're really hard to get into, or perhaps you're not even able to make it into certain positions at all, and that's totally fine. There will be some challenging moments that feel very uncomfortable. However, they should not be painful. There is a big distinction that needs to be made between what is painful and what is just simply challenging for you. The third guideline of this challenge is to complete everything mindfully and with full focus for each video. It's surprising how much our mind and body connect to each other when we're working on mobility. And if you're constantly thinking about what you're going to have for breakfast, what your workout's going to be, or what the kids are doing, then it's really tough to be able to connect your neurological system with your different muscles and ligaments and things that you're actually trying to mobilize. Mobilization comes from both creating a neurological sensation, so your mind being able to think about and address that mobility so that you can actually do that mobility later on. So you want to go into each video mindfully, and at each video you're just going to press play and start and just go along with the video. Just ensure there are no distractions, your phone is not there, and it's going to really help you get the most out of this program if you commit to focusing on each movement as it happens and working towards creating those sensations to help you get into better positions. Lastly, please do not hesitate to ask me any questions at all during the course. If you don't know how to do a certain movement, if you need me to look at how you're doing and give you feedback on a particular movement if you're not sure you're doing it right, or any questions that you have whatsoever, please feel free to add a comment in the discussions of each lesson, or just send me an email. You can even contact me on Instagram if you'd like. I'm more than happy to help you out throughout this program and make sure that you're really getting out of it what I hope you want to get out of this program. Let's talk real quick about your before and after photos. So although you're not required to submit before and after photos to me, it's also really nice to see the progress that you made from day 1 through day 30 or whatever day that you decide you want to end the program. So a couple of guidelines for taking your before photos to make sure that there's some consistency from day 1 through the last day. You're going to take 2 photos in bare feet. You want to make sure you're wearing clothing that is not too loose, that does show plenty of your silhouette so we can tell exactly where your hip crease is, how far your arms are in front. Your 2 photos, you're going to take one from the front, and you're going to set the camera just about a foot above the ground. So not too high, but usually about knee height is about right. You're going to be in the absolute bottom of your squat, arms raised overhead and as far back as you can push them behind your ears. Then you're going to do the same photo but from a side view, a 90-degree angle at the very bottom of your squat, raising those arms and reaching them as far back behind the ears and straight as you're able to. Hopefully with those photos, you may be able to see some progress across your 30 days, but also know that visual changes are not the only way that we measure progress. You can also measure your progress by how you're feeling, how easy it feels to get into movements that you haven't been able to do before. I'm also going to include different tests that you can do at the start and closer to the end to see if you have improved your mobility in terms of ankle mobility, overhead thoracic mobility, internal rotation, and otherwise. I'm excited for you to get started on this program, and let's go ahead and get going to day 1.